Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
The defendant in the Oxford school shooting appears in court for yet another bid to try to be moved to juvenile detention, but it's his parents making big news tonight as they continue to sit behind bars. Off the top tonight at 5, it's all surrounding a court filing submitted by the attorneys for James and Jennifer Crumbley.
And in that filing, we are learning about some of what was in Ethan Crumbley's journal and why the parents want it barred from being used in their trial. Sean Lay is live this evening to take us through the court filing as well as today's hearing. Sean.
Well, Karen, today we pulled that filing, and James and Jennifer Crumbley, they want a lot of evidence in their case thrown out, including writings from that journal you referred to, their son writing about President Biden. The accused Oxford High School shooter making a court appearance today where a judge ruled that the teen will continue to be held in the adult Oakland County Jail. More explosive news also being made by this new court filing by the attorneys for his parents, James and Jennifer Crumbley. The two are charged with involuntary manslaughter in the school massacre. Prosecutors say the parents provided their son with the gun used in the shooting. In this motion to restrict evidence, the Crumbley parents argue they don't want their jury to see their son's 22-page journal, the 25,000 text messages he sent to a friend, and internet searches he made, calling them hearsay and not admissible. Attorneys also worried that the trial could turn political, quoting from the accused shooter's journal that he wanted the shooting, quote, so big that sleepy, expletive Joe Biden will have to make an apology to people. Sleepy Joe, a nickname coined by former President Trump, and, quote, hopefully my shooting will cause Biden to be impeached. Well, the arguments don't end there. Another court filing is asking for the Crumbley's involuntary manslaughter charges to be completely thrown out, arguing that the case should have never been bound over for trial. All these filings, all these motions, a judge gets the final say. That'll start in June. We're live tonight. Sean Lay, Local 4, back to you.
All right, we appreciate it. Thank you, Sean.
Major developments this afternoon in the push to try to ease the nationwide baby formula shortage. Today, the head of the FDA told Congress parents should start seeing better supply in a matter of days. Consumer investigator Hank Winchester is live with more on this. Hank, this was actually the first time that he's actually testified about the shortage, right?
Devin, you're absolutely right. He was facing some tough questions. This is all about baby formula, the lack of it on store shelves. Tonight, we're getting some information about when things could start to change. The head of the Food and Drug Administration on the hot seat today, facing congressional scrutiny over the baby formula shortage and the whistleblower complaint regarding Abbott's facility right here in Michigan.
Potentially putting babies at risk and forcing parents to play a game of Russian roulette.
The FDA chief defending the agency's response to this issue.
The pandemic, the war in Ukraine, and labor supply issues have all had an impact.
With political pressure mounting right now, the Biden administration taking drastic measures to increase supplies across the country. Formula needed, and that includes using U.S. military aircraft to import formula from overseas and invoking the Defense Production Act. Even some of the president's strongest allies say federal action should have come much sooner.
I give everybody an F on the entire spectrum of this, from the company itself to the FDA oversight.
Democrats are pushing a $28 million package to help the FDA hire more employees. Its fate in the Senate is unclear.
What's the objection? We don't want to spend money on babies who are crying for food.
The FDA now hoping Congress gives the green light for more money to prevent future shortages of baby formula.
And unless we strengthen the resilience of our supply chain, we could be one natural disaster, quality mishap, or cyber attack from being here again.
I believe that many of the problems facing your agency can be solved through strong leadership rather than more money.
The FDA chief also reassuring the public that the country's largest formula producer is on track to reopen soon here in Michigan, but not soon enough for struggling families. Back out here live, here's the good news in all of that. We are told that more formula should be making its way onto store shelves within the coming days, but the reality is things are not going to get back to normal for at least 6 to 8 weeks at a minimum. Tonight at 6 o'clock, we're going to be taking a look at the formula-related scams you need to know about. Some people losing hundreds of dollars just trying to get the formula they need for their children. We'll have that important Help Me Hank scam alert tonight at 6.
Because
for now, we're live here. Hank Winchester, Help Me Hank, Local 4.
the loss of the formula isn't enough. Now we've got to be dealing with being scammed over it as well. It's just so exasperating. All right, Hank. Now we need to get some breaking news just into our newsroom. Detroit police announced one person is now in custody in connection with a deadly hit and run that killed a mother of 2. It happened Monday evening. We've been following it all week. This was the scene near Dragoon and McMillan. Police did recover yesterday a red Ford F-150 that they believe hit and killed 32-year-old Iris Lisiaga when she was walking to the store. So again, a person in custody at this hour. We await word on charges.
Today, the CDC's advisory panel voted in favor of recommending a booster dose of the Pfizer vaccine for children ages 5 to 11, at least 5 months after that second dose. Our Dr. Frank McGeorge has been following their meeting today closely. He joins us live from highlights with that discussion. Doc.
Yeah, Karen, the real question for the panel was, do the benefits of a booster dose outweigh any potential risks? And after reviewing the available data, the committee of outside experts decided the answer was yes.
11 yeses, 1 no, 1 abstention. And so the motion passes.
The CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices voicing support for a booster dose of Pfizer's vaccine for children aged 5 to 11. The data from Pfizer's clinical trial showed a 1/3 dose of the vaccine raised Omicron-fighting antibodies by 36 times in this age group. The CDC's Dr. Sarah Oliver said no new safety issues were seen.
There were no serious adverse events reported among trial participants. There were no deaths, no cases of anaphylaxis, and no cases of myocarditis.
It's not clear how many parents will want a booster dose. Right now, 35% of children in this age group have received at least 1 dose of the vaccine, and just 28% are fully vaccinated. But the vaccines do show clear benefits.
During the Omicron predominant period, COVID-19 associated hospitalization rates among unvaccinated children, 5 through 11, shown in the dashed orange line, were twice as high as rates among vaccinated children, shown in the solid blue line.
The CDC stressed, while COVID trends tend to be less severe in children, the Omicron wave has led to more kids being hospitalized and can lead to long-term health issues even after a mild case.
87% of hospitalized children were unvaccinated. Among unvaccinated hospitalized children, over half were Black or Hispanic. 1/3 of hospitalized children had no underlying medical conditions.
Now, the CDC director still has the final say, but she is expected to give the green light as early as tonight.
Frank, was there any mention of progress on the vaccines for children under 5?
Well, the FDA acknowledged the frustration of parents, and they said that they are still in the process of reviewing the data that was submitted by Moderna. Several of the public comments were from parents or caregivers of kids that are under the age of 5 who actually called on the FDA and the CDC to just move faster. The FDA's advisory panel is tentatively set to meet in June to consider those vaccines for kids under age 5. So if that timetable does hold, they could be available in early summer.
Lots of parents concerned about that for sure. All right. Thank you, Doc. We appreciate it. Well, today, a group including the Michigan ACLU and the National Council of Black Lawyers is calling for federal oversight of the Detroit Police Department.
And they say a sharp increase in excessive force complaints is why monitors now need to step in. Let's bring in Victor Williams following this story. Victor, we have to point out this department is no stranger to federal oversight.
Devin, Karen, that is true, and these groups are very passionate about what they're doing. They're saying that way too many African Americans have fallen victim to police officers, and all of that is listed right here in this memorandum that was sent to the Department of Justice.
The police, they're a hammer. They are a militarized force. Everything is going to be a nail.
On Malcolm X's birthday, the Coalition of Police Transparency and Accountability making the announcement that they want the federal government to step in and investigate the Detroit Police Department for misconduct and excessive force.
We're tired of being targeted and killed.
Detroit Justice Center interim managing attorney Nancy Parker says the number of African Americans killed at the hands of law enforcement in the city is far too many.
The number of killings continues to increase, the number of violent incidents.
Each shooting was detailed in the memorandum sent to the Justice Department. ACLU attorney Mark Fancher says it's not a question of if the shootings were justified, but how a death could have been prevented from happening in the first place.
We want law enforcement that understands the value of life.
The CPTA was founded after the death of Hakeem Littleton, a 20-year-old killed by DPD after allegedly shooting at police. Nancy is now insisting that federal dollars earmarked for the department are now used for other means.
The people of Detroit have spoken. And yes, maybe not everyone is yelling defund the police, but what they are saying is keep me safe and invest in my community.
And the Detroit Police Department is responding with this statement, which in part reads, quote, Chief White's administration is committed to transparency and accountability. The community desires safety, constitutional policing, and a community-first approach to law enforcement. This is why the Detroit Police Department is firmly committed to making its mission to encourage thoughtful decision-making and a strong sense of community responsibility. We're also going to add that this department has crisis intervention teams as well. Victor Williams, Local 4.
Okay, Victor, we've got much more to come on this Thursday.
Let's check in with Paul.
Yeah, hey, Karen. Things are pretty quiet right now. You can see that here on Storm Tracker 4, but we have a lot of changes coming our way over the next few days. We're talking about heat, we're talking about a little wind, we're talking about thunderstorms as we head into the weekend. A lot to break down for you. We'll do that straight ahead.
Several students protesting outside of Lakeview High School today over an alleged sexual assault where they say the victim was suspended for longer than the boy who did it. We'll hear what the district has to say about it coming up.
All right, Jason, but first, Governor Whitmer says she wants to give Michiganders $500 checks, but there's one pretty big hang-up, and we'll have that next.